QC, that's where. It's where you can find help when you've been hurt on the job or due to some type of negligence or wrongdoing. These injuries can sometimes be life-altering. That's where VanDerGinst Law comes in. The personal injury law firm is located right here in the QC and works to show its commitment to the community both inside and outside the courtroom.
VanDerGinst Law is a law firm that focuses on helping people with injury claims. So that could be work comp claims, meaning someone was injured on the job, or it could be any number of claims where there's negligence involved or the wrongdoing of somebody else, car accidents, dog bite cases, product liability cases, medical malpractice, things like that. And it's our job to try to get as much compensation for our clients as we can and to take the chaos out of their lives. We will handle the mess while our clients try to get better. In today's environment, a lot of people have this sense that I call claim shame. And what I mean by that is there have been a lot of media efforts by insurance companies and big business interests to make people feel bad about pursuing their own rights. They didn't ask for whatever accident caused their injury. They shouldn't be responsible for bearing the burden. And that burden can be enormous. It could include, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. It could be lost wages or future earnings that are impaired, scarring, disfigurement. Some people are disabled by the injuries. Families are disrupted. They're torn apart sometimes. Maybe the primary breadwinner can no longer work. So we are the intermediary. We are the advocate. We are the ones who are there to champion your cause. And that's what our role is. We work on a contingent fee basis, meaning that if there's no recovery, then there is no fee for our services. There are other firms that do something similar. However, one thing that we do that is very distinct is not only do we not charge a fee if we're not successful, we do not ask for a retainer for the costs that are going to be spent. For that reason, I think we have developed a good reputation both locally and nationally. And in fact, our mantra is that we are nationally respected and locally connected. There's a joke that goes around saying, a good lawyer knows the law, a great lawyer knows the judges. Well, we know the judges because we're in front of them. We know the defense attorneys. We know the local treatment providers. We even know the insurance adjusters and the representatives of insurance carriers and corporate entities that we go to war with all day long. We have the medical providers themselves who refer us their injury cases. I think that's an incredible testament to what we do and how we do it. There are some law firms that focus their practice on injury law, but they may occasionally represent an injured person, but most of the time they represent the insurance company. Well, we feel like that's trying to answer to two masters, and that's why we simply don't handle cases for insurance companies or big business interests. We only represent the injured party. Locally, one of the things that we're proud of is that we've been selected best law firm for the last 5 years in a row. We received the Better Business Bureau's Torch Award for Ethics. And as I understand it, we are the first and maybe the only law firm to have ever received that award in this region. In addition, there are a number of other awards and recognitions that we've garnered over the years that have been given by our peers. But again, I don't like to get caught up in the awards because the most important thing is what the clients think. And if they are happy with our efforts and our service, that means way more to me than any number of awards we might have received. I'm happy to have our corporate headquarters in the Quad Cities area. This, first of all, I'm from the area and I love the people in this area, and we have had a history of giving back to the community in this area because of that love and appreciation. fan of the holidays, and we've been a supporter of the Festival of Trees and the Festival of Trees Parade for many years. So this year, instead of hauling a helium balloon as we have in years past, we decided that we were going to do our own float. We've had some incredible campaigns over the years. The one that I'm probably the most proud of is a campaign that we call Hard-Headed Kids. We've given over 50,000 bicycle helmets to kids in the communities that we serve over the years. Sometime after one of our first events, a mother came to me with the bike helmet that we had given her son, and it had a huge gash in the helmet. And I thought, oh no, what happened? And she came and she cried and thanked us because her son would have been dead had it not been for that bike helmet. And that was enough reason, if we, to know that we saved one child. That was all I needed to keep doing that. And we've done that every year, multiple times a year at different events, and we will continue to do that. We're so grateful when people choose us to help them with things that have really put their lives into turmoil. We know how frustrating, how confusing accident claims can be. And for someone to make a decision to hire us, we know that takes a certain amount of trust. That's why we say that we are honored to help.
And joining me in the studio now is Dennis VanDerGinst, President and CEO of VanDerGinst Law. Dennis, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was a really great piece. I feel like anybody who kind of hasn't used your services or doesn't really know what it's all about really learned a lot from that. But I want to kind of talk a little bit more about what you guys do, your entire team at VanDerGinst Law. So winter weather is around the corner. Something that you were saying is that you do get a lot of calls because of that when the seasons change and get a little bit more dicey.
It does, and fortunately, Eric and Teresa and the weather team.
Oh, you're being nice.
They've done a great job. So far it's been pretty mild, but we know that weather's going to turn on us here in the Midwest, and when that happens, it's certainly understandable that we're going to see a lot more accidents. Especially, I read yesterday, for instance, that this is going to be the most voluminous travel Thanksgiving that we've ever had.
Yeah.
So you get a combination of that kind of traffic and then icy roads, and it's inevitable that you're going to see a lot of accidents occur.
Right, and that's when that stuff happens. I mean, it may not be your first inclination to call a personal injury attorney, but it should be something that you think about.
It should be. I've done a segment on. We have a podcast called Legal Squeaks, and
that's right.
In the segment we just watched, I mentioned claim shame, and a lot of folks don't realize that if you don't take advantage of your rights, you're going to lose your rights. And you have to understand that if you've been injured and it's not your fault, you are entitled to compensation. You shouldn't have to bear the burden.
Right.
And this time of year, car accidents happen, slip and fall accidents happen. There's a lot of gift giving that occurs because of the holidays, and some of the gifts that we get, especially now that we take advantage of Amazon and you don't get a chance to test them out.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And a lot of times, you get some shoddy products, and those can injure people as well.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. Wow. So when something like this happens, what is our first step? What's the best way to get in touch with your team?
Well, first thing, even before they get in touch with us, is I want to make sure that they're safe and they're addressing whatever physical or medical needs that they may have. So if it's a car accident, for instance, get your car off the road if you can do so safely. Call for assistance, the police and ambulance if necessary. Get that kind of attention, and then you can contact us either via our website, social media, or our toll-free number.
Okay, so you make it really easy for people. That's for sure.
And they don't have to come see us. We can open most files right on the phone.
Wow.
or we'll go see them if they feel more comfortable doing it that way, the old style.
The old-fashioned way, yeah. So what kind of information should folks be prepared to provide you with?
Well, where, when, the whole spiel.
But we laugh, but sometimes when you're in those situations, like those things, like you don't take note or you forget, or maybe you have the chance to take a photo or something, but you don't do it because you've been injured, and so it is a good reminder to try and have all of that.
Right, and you're right. More often than not, folks are they're confused. Maybe they're so hurt that they're not even conscious, and so they're not going to be able to gather all that information. But when they contact us, whatever information they can provide us, that will give us a starting point, and then we do the footwork. We're the ones that, that's what we're there for. Yeah. Make it as easy for them as possible.
Easy for you, yeah. And I'm sure it definitely varies, but my last question, when you have a case like this, how long does it take before it's kind of concluded?
Oh, like that. No, you're right. It does vary. It depends. First of all, we don't want to settle a case prematurely. So if somebody's still treating for the injuries, we don't even want to have that discussion yet. Makes sense, yeah. But once they have either reached a maximum improvement level or they're done treating, that's when we enter into negotiations. I think it's important that people understand we don't simply file a lawsuit. We do try to settle cases. Most cases do get settled without having to go to a jury trial.
That's good to know.
So, yeah.
Very good to know. Okay, well, if you want to learn more about VanDerGinst Law and how the team can help out, just visit them on the web. Very easy. The website is vlaw.com. And of course, Dennis, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you, Morgan.
We really appreciate it, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yes, thank you. Well, much more to come in our next half.